All right, folks, welcome back. Very beautiful, happy Saturday early afternoon to you. Uh-oh. It's 29th of February. It's 12:02 p.m. So just after 12 o'clock. Pretty obvious where we are. I'm going to go ahead and just call this, this is the baleage yard. Predominantly, this is where most of my baleage was this year. I'm out here for a second load, just to stockpile. I came out for a load last night, and I really need to double down when we have nice frozen ground. The reason I'm back out for another load now, number one, I'm gonna need it. Number two, that goes without saying. Number two, we've got some significant warm weather coming. For the next week to come, we have about 4 days that reach about 40. So that's when I run into trouble here with this pretty long distance from the highway. Well, the road, the highway's over there. That's when I run into trouble. So I have to do this while the ground and the snow is somewhat frozen. Got a good load here. I have hauled multiple loads of 10 bales on the wagon. It's a little bit of a heavy, tall order for that wagon, but no problem. I've opted here lately just to go with 8 on the wagon. Reason being is because of some of the softness of this trail in here, there are some bumps, and when they freeze, you know, they're bumps of snow. When they freeze, it's almost like hitting a boulder. And that is not good, obviously, for the tires with a heavy load on it. So 1 in the spears, 8 on the wagon makes 9. I'm happy. This is obviously, this is sorghum. This is that hybrid BMR stuff that the sample has been submitted. I am waiting to hear back from the nutritionist on what I have here exactly. If you do pay attention to the channel, this is the stuff that gave me a scare. We did experience a freeze when I went ahead and baled this and wrapped it. Freeze before I cut it, I should say. We got a small freeze, a legitimate freeze. 2 days or so, I believe, before I cut this field of sorghum down. And you got to watch that with sorghum. For the lack of better words, and there's some scientists out there that are going to go ahead and comment on this, and I say that respectfully. Basically, that sorghum becomes toxic. But anyway, I got all my answers. I made all the phone calls I needed to. We're going to talk about that in 2 seconds here. And it is safe to feed. I have been feeding it for over a week now. Not a great amount, but feeding it nonetheless, and everything is peachy king. So, what the hell is this here? That's surface mold, folks. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of equipment you have. You are going to experience some molding, especially at the end of the lines, with wet wrapping, or bale wrapping, making baleage. Now, this is at the very end of the line. This is the last bale of first crop alfalfa that I have. All right, so here's what's left. There's what's left of the sorghum. There's the 1 bale backed up by 2 bales for an end cap of alfalfa. I'm leaving that. I'll explain that to you. And then there is a line that you can maybe not see. It's camouflaged. This is 85 bales of second crop alfalfa that took a major beating by the deer this year. Yes, it is scaring the crap out of me. This is my first experience with deer damage to these line wraps. It is a little scary. I will say this on a positive note, it does not happen till later in the year. I guess it's going to be dependent on weather and snow. That gives me some confidence. Otherwise, I don't like this business. They take their hooves which is about as sharp as a razor blade. And they got wise this year, and they broke a couple spots here. The only reason we're probably not seeing more damage on this line of alfalfa is because there's always been a couple of open bales from the lines that I grab. I chose not to cover those end bales up. I actually want the deer to eat them instead of keeping attacking this line. So that's the reason of me leaving that last alfalfa bale right there. I want the deer to actually pick at that and eat that instead of looking back at this line here and poking any more rips in it. It's not the end of the world. It's more of an eyesore than anything. Now, one part of my business here with feed sales is, of course, for the deer feeders. This year I was not lucky enough to have enough feed to get into that market, which usually covers some significant bills. Well, I had to pick up male dancing again this year to cover those bills. Truth of the matter is I didn't make any money, but I tried. That's all I got for a joke today. But I guess what I'm trying to say is the deer baleage sales, whether you agree with it or not, takes place December, January. It's about mid to late January, weather dependent, to when the deer started attacking my lines. That also gives me some comfort. I don't know what else to say. What am I going to do? I don't know. As far as for next year, I don't know. I have to figure it out. You are looking at a larger area for me. This is going to be all baleage. All high moisture wrapped baleage. This field here, which is 18.5 acres, this is getting planted this coming year with peas and oats. New seeding alfalfa mother cropped by peas and oats, which is all going to be for high moisture wrapped. This, of course, is my primary alfalfa field now. It's coming up on its second year. I'm really looking forward to this year. This ought to be an outstanding alfalfa crop as long as Mother Nature cooperates. This will also be all bale wrapped, with the exception of I wouldn't mind making 50 bales or so of dry alfalfa and wrapping it specifically for the horse market. And I want to test that out just a little bit, very meekly. Make that word make sense. I just made that up. And see what kind of a market there is for it. I'll try anything on a very small scale to see if there's a market for it so we can keep paying these bills. There's no other way to say it. Now, let's talk about peas and oats. I was extremely happy, just as happy as the cows were, with peas and oats that I did for the first time this past year and bale wrapped it. Up where I'm from, if done correctly at the right time with help from Mother Nature, you can get 2 cuttings off your peas and oats. Your second cutting, of course, is not going to be as thick and healthy as your first cutting, but 2 cuttings nonetheless. Banking on a cutting, even a meek one, of the new seeding alfalfa that's going in here, I will not take that to the bank, but we'll see what happens. It just depends what height it is, the condition it is, and the time of the year. You have to watch that up here with giving your alfalfa or any fresh new seeding or any grassland for that matter a fresh haircut right before the winter hardness sets in of freezing temperatures, some rain, frozen ground. You have to watch that. So we're going to watch the old calendar pretty good here this year. So yeah, that's what's left for sorghum. There's maybe 10, 11, 12 bales there, maybe. That's gone. That's there for the deer. I'm doing that deliberately. And then 85 bales of alfalfa. I have a 35 bale wrap over by the farm yet of what I called cattle candy this year, and that is a beautiful mix of grass and alfalfa, like about a 50-50. And then of course I have my dry bales, which is not a lot, and then of course damn near a full 18-footer silo of corn silage. What I'm trying to tell you is the feed is kind of meek, but we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay on feed. I did a lot of talking this year about how scared I was on feed. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and consider this March 1st. I need to survive on feed to the animals till mid-May, third week in May. That is always the projected date of opening up the grazing system for the first time. And I'll be okay. Not a lot of room to spare, but I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep over it. Not a lot anyway. But very happy with the sorghum and the lack thereof of the stems with this hybrid. Not to mention I planted it very heavy, and that makes a significant difference on the thickness of the stems. I got a whole brand new seed program this year. I'm not going to get into it much now. We're going to dedicate those to different videos in time to come. I'm very happy and proud of the direction that I'm going with the seeds, but it was for a reason that's not too happy about it. I've been using Jun seed. The Visa Farm's been using Jun seed for 26 years. For alfalfa and corn. Our very good man that's a local rep around here and a sizable dairy farmer. You know what? Alright, I'm not going to race this video. I've gone too far, but I didn't want to say any names. Hell with it. I don't care. Maybe you deserve it. Because he wasn't $1 million sales guy, they pulled his sales from him. He's no longer a rep for Jun seed. You couldn't give me Jun seed now to put in the ground. That's dirty. I think it is. I understand business. Don't get me wrong, I do. But 26 years. 26 years. There's not a whole lot of respect there. But I regrouped, I did my research, and I have a different program for alfalfa seed this year and corn seed. And we will discuss those as the year goes on. And I'll be sure to get into depth on what I'm using. Not that I'm definitely pushing my product on you. I know there's people interested, and I will definitely share it with you. Pretty beautiful, calm Saturday afternoon here. She was 4 degrees this morning. A little bit of wind, so I'm going to say she was about a 0 wind chill this morning. But that's the end of it. It's warming up from here on out. In fact, in the last minute here, that sun is shining on us. That's quite warm. But that's about it. This is what the baleage yard now looks like. A little bit meek, but it'll be okay. It'll be all right. There's still a lot of feed here. And it'll carry through till grazing time. With corn silage and the dry hay anyway. So yeah, we're going to be spending a lot of time back here this summer, folks. Making baleage and wrapping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, I hope, of bales. We'll see what we can do. But The rest of the property out here, this is almost 80 acres. In fact, when I say almost, we're talking 79. And you got this field here. Well, there's two. You can't see the separation point, but there's two separate fields here. That, of course, is going to be a predominant grassy / alfalfa field now. Yeah, I dare say it was 50-50 last year. And that's going to make some terrific dry round bales. And then, of course, that other section is just pure grass. So that's about it. I thought I'd take a small little break here and turn the old video on and kind of show you what I'm looking at. And I got a little journey back to the farm now, get this offloaded, and I've got about 50 little honeydews to catch up on here today. I've got that beef producers meeting I need to be at tonight. I'm going. But in order to shut down by 5:30 and clean up a little bit, be a little presentable, I have got to get my butt in gear. So anyway, hope everybody's having a good weekend, having a good morning. Everything else, hope your weather's fair, kind of like here. It's getting there anyway. And we are going to talk to you sooner than later.